Welcome to the Postgame show. Let's hit that shit. Buccaneers, how we doing? It's Victory Monday again, and how? Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers win. A little victory that a lot of people didn't think we were going to do. We were supposed to be 10-point underdogs in this game, and we win by 4. And I tell you what, that game was stressful for me. But let's get into it. Let's get into this stuff. Hey, guys, let's look at the game. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, led by a Baker Mayfield, who was harassed. Adrian Hutchinson had 5 sacks in this game. That was straight up insane. That should not happen. But your Buccaneers did the thing. They overcome adversity. They do the thing, and they beat the Detroit Lions. And I tell you one thing. This Buccaneer defense is for real. No Vita Vea, no problem. And I'm not saying Vita Vea, we don't need him no more. Hell no, we always need that boy. But when you lose Kalijah Cansey, Antoine Winfield, and then Vita Vea, that's a very different prospect, people. That's a very, very different prospect. But I'm very pleased about how this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team fought through the adversity and gone after it. K-pop lover says hi. I appreciate the love. Everyone else can bring it. But we're going to talk about this Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Time of possession. Buccaneers had the ball for 26 minutes to the Lions 33. They did nothing. They didn't do enough with it. I will tell you one thing that irritated the shit out of me. And Coach Bowles, I'm going to have to call you out. Why the fuck are you taking timeouts when a team is desperate to score? Why are you giving them free time? Seriously, I get the first one. They had a big play that got them in position to try and pitch out the game and win it. I get that. You're resting your defense. You bring them to the sideline. You're saying to them, guys, I know what's happening here. This is where we dial down. This is where we make our name. This is where we stake our claim. That's what you do. You tell them the plan. You tell them the execution, and you get that shit. But the other two, I don't like it. Make them use their timeouts. The fuck, you got a team in under a minute, and you're going, oh, we better use some timeouts. No, save those timeouts for yourself. If they do score, then you've got timeouts in the bank. What the fuck are you using timeouts for? They cannot afford to burn out the clock. They are not going to win by burning out the clock and scoring last minute. They needed a touchdown. All the pressure is on them. Coach Bowles, that was poor. I'm not happy about it. We need to do better. That was poor management. And guys, that we got to do better than that. I'm just saying, when you're in a position and a team needs to score, you don't give them free fucking timeouts to get their shit together. You just don't do that. But I got me a guest. My guest is a good friend of mine. We used to play on the same team together way back when. I'm calling by his real name because I think the nickname's a bit embarrassing. But we'll bring in Tom Con, my guy. Add to the stage. Bring my guy in. How you doing, brother?
Oh, obviously been better after that loss. I'm not embarrassed by the nickname. It is what it is. We've all got them.
We all do. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. I appreciate you reaching out to me pre-game. We're having a little bit of a chat, and I love the respect that these two franchises have for each other. You know, both two NFC Central teams back in the day, and now competing of teams that used to be trash because we both know that pain, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's so much different this game to last week's game. I know you probably want to talk about tonight's game being, but the the anger from the Rams fans when we beat them is palpable. How petty they are about losing to us after that Goff trade is hilarious. Whereas first thing I messaged you was saying, great game.
Congratulations, yeah, man. I appreciate it because game's got to recognize game, and that was nervy.
I mean, we lost it. We lost it for ourselves on that stupid half-time decision.
I don't know what happened there. I don't think your coach can be too happy about that.
Dan Campbell's going to Dan Campbell. We love him for it, and he's going to make mistakes. He lets the passion go to his head sometimes, and that's all that happened here.
Mm-hmm.
He said he wanted the punt team on. They've gone to run on without thinking, hang on, we're going to spike the ball first, thinking we've got a timeout when we haven't. And that's what, and at the end of the day, that's what's ended up costing us the game. But there are multiple things that we can see.
I mean, you still had a whole half to rectify that.
Of course. And I mean, you've got to
look. But it was kind of like it didn't help along the way, did it? Because that could have been a 3-point game. That could have been 3 points you could have attacked on. Then you're going into your drive to finish off the game to kick a field goal, not to try and score a touchdown.
But the thing is, as well, this is the first game I can look at since the new Lions, because we're not the same old Lions anymore. We're the brand new Lions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the first game I can look at and turn around and say, our offense cost us that game. And it's actually quite nice for me
your defense did the job. I mean, we did enough. I mean, early on, you struggled to contain Chris Godwin.
Yeah. I mean,
but that's because your focus is on a certain other wide receiver, and that is Michael Lynn Evans III. Rest that guy, going to the Hall of Fame. I'm calling it out now. That boy will be in the Hall of Fame. He is the man.
But no, so, when you've got 138 yards in the air and 138 yards have gone to him.
And no touchdown. No thrown touchdowns. You guys did it on the ground and you punched the ball in. You couldn't throw the ball in. You punched it in.
But this is the first game, and fair play to Aaron Glenn. I've been a big advocate of getting rid of him. I don't think he's good enough. I really don't. And I still don't. But tonight, we put on a show. But my age to say, Baker, the way he has regenerated himself, bravo. He's come from nothing. He was ditched by the Browns, ditched by the Panthers, ditched by the Rams. And even at the Rams, he cost the Lions getting into the playoffs because if they would have beat the Seahawks in the final game. Yeah, I still find myself loving him and rooting for him when he's not playing the Lions. He's just impossible to hate.
There's something about him that makes you like him. He's tough. And I think that you don't see toughness from quarterbacks that often, especially in this day and age. You get it with a couple, like the Houdini running that he does, where you think he's dead to rights, it's done. And you're like, oh, he's going to get sacked. And then he just kind of ducks down. They go over the top. He just feels out. And you're like, oh.
You saw him shake someone. And on the broadcast, they compared it to a Barry Sanders run. And it was very much like a Sanders run, the way he just shakes
with the elusiveness, for sure. I mean, maybe not the skill set or the skin tone, but definitely the elusiveness. He's very Houdini-esque, and I will be honest. I have my reservations. I wanted the Buccaneers to go after Gardner Minshew back last year, but I was happy with Baker. I was like, okay, yeah, we can work with this guy, and he's just done nothing but come gold. It took him a little bit better, and his personality is really easy to like.
But that's rubbing off on the team as well. Now he's confident. The team are confident in him. And you can just see it. Yes, he was targeting Godwin for his first 138 yards through the air. And then other plays started to open up. He's not just looking at Mike Evans anymore. If you watched him his first couple of games for you,
yeah, I agree.
Mike Evans. That's it. But he was looking at his first read and because he had his confidence shaken by what happened, he was looking at Evans as his number one target. If his number one read wasn't there, he was going to try and force a run, which caused a couple of fumbles, or he was going to throw it away. And now he's had a whole off season with your boys, and you can see it's just kicking. I fancy us meeting up again in the postseason again.
I generally said this. I said this to my wife. I said this is like a precursor to what's going to happen in the playoffs. Which is why I was kind of happy we won it, because I was like, okay, now we know we can stand. Because the Lions last year were better than us, and there ain't no denying it. But this year, I'd say we're on the same par. We're both punching the same weight level, and that's it. It was like body blows after body blows of some of these plays that were coming off, and Both defenses bored the fuck out, but in different ways. The Buccaneers' pass defense was what made them special.
Yeah.
Your pass rush is what made you special. And it was
Aiden Hutchinson, can we just take a second to appreciate that? 4.5 sacks in a single game. I mean,
he's credited on the broadcast with 5.
No, they took it. They gave half the 5th one to
I will add this, and I will not slight on a guy because 4.5 sacks is 4.5 sacks, and it doesn't matter how you get them. But it was a backup left tackle. But that being said, we hung him out for drop. Hey,
your scheme could have allowed to put an extra tight end on him. I don't know why you stopped blocking it.
I'm not. We won a Super Bowl off it.
Yeah,
we won a Super Bowl off a team who supposedly had no tackles. So I'm not going to sit here saying, "Oh, the only reason he was good was because he was going up against a weaker opposition." It's kind of true, but at the same time, that's on us to deal with that. You've played this game. You know, I played with you. You played nose tackle, and I know that you played guard at times. So I know you know how this game is played.
Yeah.
And you know that sometimes you got to go in, and sometimes you just got to get those nuts out, whip your dick out, and see if it's bigger than the guy in front of you.
And I'll tell you what, 9 times out of 10, if I'm whipping it out, mine ain't. But no, it was an incredible game. It was old school football. Both teams could have won.
And they ran the ball a lot. There was a lot of running. It was fun. It was, and I'm not talking about it from like because we won, but it was just I was on my edge of my seat the whole time. I'm like, oh my god!
Fair play to your D line because there is not many that can stand up to our O line. We have probably the best O line in the NFL, bar none.
Yeah, I put you top 5, 100%.
And you guys stopped that run. And normally, if you sell out for a run, we're going to beat you deep. And tonight we couldn't. So it was all for me. The credit goes to your D. First time I've been saying that to a man, but you know.
It's all about your D, mate. Hey, it's all good, man.
Full credit to him, man. It was an incredible game.
It's what this Buccaneers team prides itself on is being that run first, stop the run, and then we can deal with the rest of it after the fact. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, what a fucking play you got.
The thing is, if you don't stop him, we've now unlocked Jameson Williams, and that's what we needed. I'm worried about St. Brown going down. Good to see Tim Patrick coming as well, because we do miss an ex-receiver. We haven't had an ex-receiver in the first game. Big-bodied receiver coming in. He picked it up, got a couple of grabs.
Yeah.
Would like to see him growing. If he can stay fit, he's a hell of a pickup off waivers.
Yeah, man.
Early on as well. So he excites me. I mean, I think we'll do well for the rest of the season. I really do. I think the first 2 games have been iffy, and this is what I'm now concerned about. Is we didn't play any starters at all through pre-season, and it's showing.
The rust.
We're rusty.
And
that's a coaching decision. Now, I will back Dan Campbell to the end of this earth. The bloke's a genius, and he is perfect for Detroit. Do I think he would be a great head coach anywhere else? No, because he has taken what the city is about, being trodden down, and just rising up and facing their adversity, and he is the picture for that.
I like that, and I can definitely agree with it because he does feel like he's a guy who's kind of got the finger on the pulse for you guys about what Detroit football was about. Like,
yeah, and Detroit is a city as well. He's just come in and he's absorbed that. And when you've got a coach like Dan Campbell, you take the buffoon mistakes like we had today. Because what he gives us, you saw him at 4th down. Who else has the nuts on our own 20 to call a fake punt?
Yeah, because absolutely. I was saying to my wife, I was like, if we keep him in these positions, my only like slate on that is if we let him get into those positions again, eventually one's going to come to good on us because 4th downs are tough down to win. But there are certain downs that you can get that on. You know what I mean? It's 4th and short. You go for that shit. I'm a big believer in going 4th down. I'm all about that shit. Fuck the field goal. I want to bludgeon the nose. I want to make you hate me.
But we will have fans turn on him tonight because we had opportunities to go for field goals and we didn't take them. I mean, Jake Bates hit one in the UFL from 70 yards in that stadium.
Yeah, bro. I got you, but I will level with you with this, and this is something I always learned from my rugby playing days, where guys would take penalties to kick for the free, right? Which is a similar kind of deal.
Yeah.
Your game plan and how you play the game is very different when you nail those kicks. So when you nail a kick, you're probably less aggressive in your play calling, which means you may never get in the situation later on to do what you do. So it's so simple to turn around. Well, if we got that, we would have won the game. It's like, okay, but then how you play call that game is very different to how you play call it, because play calling a game from a winning perspective to trying to win a game is very different.
Oh no, of course, and you've seen that being a play caller as you were at the Steelers, and as you did for the uni team, the Royals as well. So it's you've seen that side of things. To be honest, I'm not walking away from tonight gutted, but we've lost. Did we lose to the better team? Arguably, both teams deserve. A draw wouldn't have been, if this was soccer, we'd be turning around and go, a draw would have been a fair result.
Absolutely.
But the way you guys handle yourself as fans after the win is what makes me walk away and go, you know what? Fair play. We'll move on to the next one. We'll see you in the playoffs.
That's my vibe, though. Like, I mean, unless it's a Saints fan. Saints fans, that's a different kettle of fish. But
you scared of them this year? Do you think they're legit?
I don't know. I mean, I'm impressed with what they've done, because it shouldn't really be that good, right? It just shouldn't, because they've had a lot of money problems. They haven't been able to retain everyone. But AK-47, Alvin Kamara's just been that guy at the moment, and if the Buccaneers can shut him down, yeah, 100%. I don't think Derek Carr's going to win fuck all.
I mean, yeah, you say that. He's taken another team 44-19 today. That's mad.
Yeah, but that's on the back of Alvin Kamara. You take Alvin Kamara out of the equation, what does he do? What does he do when Alvin Kamara is a non-factor? That's what I need to see.
Well, but he threw that 70-yard bomb as well, didn't he?
We all get, but that 70-yard bomb comes from honoring a rushing attack.
Yeah.
So I want to see what they do in adversity, so I can turn around and say, okay, this team's legit. But so far, like when this season was going, when we were talking about the NFC South and what the NFC South is all about, everyone was saying Falcons, 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 and I said I still think the Saints will be knocking on the door. I just can't write them off, because they are a never say die team.
No.
Always shout them for my team. Always will. I think the Buccaneers will win this. The third one in a row. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't discount the Falcons because they just loaded up on talent. But it just seems like they loaded up on talent. They just don't know what to fucking do with it.
No, but it's a bit like my actual soccer team, Chelsea. That's what they're like in a minute. Just buying everyone who might be half decent and don't know how to put out a team. But I think that's completely disrespected about roster building, which is why I like Brad Holmes so much as ours. He builds every player he drafts. I mean, you look at the block for where Gibbs should have run in, and he's tiptoed out of bounds.
Yep.
On that third down, which we should have left you a minute on the clock and gone 3 points up, and I was confident we were going to. Jameson Williams' block on that is the most impressive block on that pitch, and you're talking you've got Penny Saw on the pitch, and the most impressive block I'm looking at is from a wide receiver. Now, what Brad Holmes has done to bring in guys, and our emphasis is no block, no rock, and our recruitment has been spot on with that. And I'm, when, like I say, when you win with Dan Campbell, you appreciate the risks he takes, and when you lose with him, you've just got to say, listen, since he's coming, we've had a lot more wins than losses because of what he's done.
Absolutely. So, I was going to echo that exact same thought. It's like, you can turn around and go, well, okay, if you're going to play cautious, I play caution to the wind, and you're going to be that cautious coach, and you're only going to kick the field goals, you're only going to play the percentages, and you've got to then look at the win-loss total, and if the win-loss total is, when he takes risks, he tends to come away with them, then 9 times out of 10, you've got to go right with that punch. It's hindsight. I always say this, hindsight's a beautiful thing to have, because you can sit there and go, oh, well, if we did this, because you can turn around. At the time, I bet you when it works, everyone loves it. No one's sitting there after if you guys took that, your fourth down when you're in the red zone to finish off that game, and you would have got a touchdown, not one person is complaining. One person is complaining. But then when you do it in a different game, everyone's like, well, you know, I don't know.
And I don't get it. I will stick by Dan Campbell no matter what. But may I just also say your red zone defense was incredible. I haven't seen a team be able to stop us in the red zone over last season and this season like you did tonight.
It's something we pride ourselves in. It's very much about Buccaneer football. And yeah, man, it's been fun to watch. Like we're one of those teams that will let you get into the red zone, but you're going to come 9 times out of 10, you're going to come away with a 3 rather than 6, and we'll take that.
Yeah, and that's completely. And I mean that's what we do as well. I mean, we did it to you quite a few times.
Yeah, man.
Tonight, but I mean, like I say, did the better team statistically win? No. Did the team that made the fewer mistakes win? Yes. And
sometimes that's what it comes down to. I mean, you look at Jared Goff yards, you look at the yardage you guys got as total offense. At the time of possession, I was just talking about the time of possession. You guys had the ball for 33 minutes to the Buccaneers 26.
Yep.
You look at the first downs. You guys got 26 first downs. The Buccaneers got 14.
Yeah.
And there's the difference. You beat us from an offensive standpoint. Penalties were the same. Rushing yards, 138-39 to the Buccaneers 70. Sometimes, guys, what people don't realize is it's making the first down when the first down is needed, not when it's just the first down.
And it's for mistakes. The refs weren't great today on either side as well.
No, there was some messy stuff.
Not blaming the refs for today. They were
we don't do that. We're grown ass men. We don't blame referees.
But they were calling some PIs, and then on the exact same. I mean, we got away with one.
I saw one on I think it was the ex-Buccaneer in Carlton Davis. He had one that we kind of pulled the arm back, and I was like, I personally think that was, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
it's football, man. It happens.
But if they had not been, but in the first half, the one you missed, I think your internet was being a bit funny. Terry Arnold. I mean, that's a rookie for your first points, but that's a 30-yard change of play, and it's just a bit of tit for tat. It's you know.
Sure.
And at this rate, if you keep calling them tit for tat calls on a rookie, you are going to make it impossible for anyone coming out of uni to become a starter, from college to become a starter in the league.
It certainly makes them have to double think, and that's what you don't want, because they're going to make they'll make different mistakes.
Yeah.
But look, I think they were inconsistent, but the good thing about their inconsistency was there was inconsistency on both sides. It wasn't like one-sided. So you kind of go, okay, they were ticky-tacky with a lot of pass interference calls, but they were consistent with it. And consistency, to me, from a referee standpoint, is a big thing. Yeah. So I don't mind a referee being big on holding, or big on false starts, or big on this, or big on that, as long as they're consistent on both sides. It's when it's only one team that's really benefiting from that kind of, this team's only doing the offside calls, or this team's the only one. Okay, now we've got a problem because it's not consistent anymore. No. It's lopsided. And I thought the referee was
consistently bad for both teams.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
you take it because it's like, okay, they weren't great, but that might be the way that referee crew calls the game. They prefer maybe a bit more cleaner from a passing game. You have to deal with that. But those stats kind of come into it now. You talk about these Super Bowl matchups that they have, and they go, this referee crew is really big on holding. You know, they'll be really big on this, and it comes into the game because that's what they look for. You know, you guys who look for that kind of shit. So.
No, and of course I say, but it was a hell of a game. But like I was about to say, on your second pick, there should have been a flag for a false start. As we started about a second, our tackles both moved about a second before.
The only time you want a penalty on you, right?
Yeah. I was screaming for it because I knew exactly what Goff was looking at, and that's the only issue with Goff. I think he's brilliant. I think he's highly underrated as a QB.
I think he's highly underrated too. I think a lot of him. Look, this guy took a team to a Super Bowl. He clearly can't be poor. He's got the nuts. He's willing to put his nose in there and put the ball in the places where it needs to be. And you guys are developing a squad around him. So I think it's a beautiful thing to see that Detroit has become this team, that grittiness that they're known for. and to turn it into success. Obviously,
Exactly.
it benefited me that you didn't get it today, but I'm sure we'll be having this conversation at another later date in January.
I sure hope so, brother. But right, I'm going to let you smash on because my fiance's
No worries,
gone to
man.
bed. Lovely
Look
speaking
after
to you
yourself,
guys.
brother.
Good luck for the rest of your season, boys.
And you hope to speak to you in January.
See you soon. Bye, Slick. Bye.
Cheers, mate. That's my friend Tom Khan. He used to be known as Tampon. I don't even know why anymore, but we used to play on the same squad for a while. He was our nose tackle, and he was a hell of a dude. One of the most likable people in the locker room. So absolute stud. But yeah, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's just go through the game stats on this one. 26 minutes to their 33.88. All right. First downs, Buccaneers 14. And I mean this. Buccaneers 14, Detroit Lions 26. They got 26 first downs, and they couldn't turn it into points because your Buccaneers defense was that stingy. Total yards, the big one. Your Buccaneers put up 216 yards to their 463 because they couldn't put it in the end zone. They couldn't turn it into points. That's how good your Buccaneer defense is right now. Your banged up Buccaneer defense, missing Kalijah Kancey, missing Antoine Winfield Jr., the best safety in the NFL. Vita Vea, arguably, but in my opinion, the best nose tackle in all of football, went out mid-game. And your Buccaneer team still did the job. It didn't matter that they had ex-Buccaneer Carlton Davis II. It didn't matter. Because he was a non-factor. And then we go into the passing yards. The Buccaneers, 146 yards to their 324. We could double up and it wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have been the same. And then in the rushing attack, 70 yards to their almost 140. They doubled up again, guys. It wasn't enough. Penalties were the same. Total plays, the Buccaneers had almost half the amount of total plays as they did. 47 to 83. Yards per play, Buccaneers, 4.6. Detroit Lions, 5.6. A yard difference. A yard difference. Total turnovers. We know what happened. Buccaneers won that battle. Because the Buccaneers will. What we're about. Let's look at the real stats then. So, your Baker Mayfield goes 12 of 19, 63%, 185 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT with a QBR of 1-2. Baker Mayfield gets 34 yards on the ground. Bucky Irvin, and I know everyone loving Bucky Irvin at the moment. 22 yards. K. Dotton, he had that pitch ball that didn't really mean anything. I got him -4. Rashad White, 10 carries for 18 yards. The rushing attack wasn't good enough. Bucky Irvin still doing the job, and I think there's going to be more people arguing his case to kind of climb into the starter. I think we got to hush the brakes on that one. Mike Evans, 42 yards, no touchdowns, but was still consistent. Trey Palmer, nothing. Chris Godwin, 117 yards and a touchdown. Jalen McMillan, one reception for 21 yards. Rashad White, 1 for 5. This Buccaneers attack did not get any sacks, but it got 2 INTs. 2 INTs, it was enough in critical positions to ensure that the Lions couldn't get what they wanted. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team has done the damn job. Chase McLaughlin does the thing, kick the ball, 100%. Can't argue with it. Jake Kamada, not the greatest punting I've seen from him, but, Hopefully we can get that cleaned up and we'll get into a better position. But this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team competed. And it competed with a team that people were talking about Super Bowl implications. So what does that say for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team? It means we have Super Bowl aspirations too. Jared Goff, 34 completions for 55 attempts, which means he threw the ball way more than he needed to. No touchdowns, 2 INTs. QBR of 66. Jameson Williams, 1 for 15. Montgomery. Jamal Gibbs was the dude. But they kept feeding it to Montgomery. There's your real. Fred Moore turns around and said the Lions coaching blunder in the end of the first half cost them the game. Potentially. No, I disagree. You have an entire half of fucking football. The kind of weak-ass people say that shit. You had a whole fucking day of football. You went drive out, drive out, drive out. Hey, I'll bring up the drives. I'm not using a fucking excuse. Yes, that was a position where you could have got guaranteed points on the board. You could have kicked free and you would have walked away with it. But hang on. There is an entire half of football. You're going to blame your entire half of shit football that you didn't score on, oh, well, we didn't get a kick. I'm sorry. I'm not about that shit. That's just not good enough. You've had an entire half of football, which means you had multiple possessions to do something with it. That's not the reason you lost the game. You lost the game because you weren't good enough. And I will stress this. Coach Bowles almost cost us this game by taking timeouts where they didn't need to take timeouts. I get the big bomb downfield, timeout, get your team set, get your team hype, get your team right. 2 timeouts after that, I don't get it. And what happened? The Buccaneers had a punt because they didn't make Detroit use their timeouts. You should have been playing timeout chicken with them, and we lost. They should be going, shit, we need to conserve all the time we get because we ain't going to score. Because they lost the game. Look at this, 20-16. That's not a team that's high flying that can guarantee a score. So it's not like they can go, oh, we'll just hold on, wait till there's a couple of seconds and we'll just get our touchdown and we're done. They're not in that position, guys. They need every second they can get because they need every attempt they can get and every bit of time that they can use to get it. The Buccaneers played into their hands. Luckily enough, this Buccaneer team was resilient and did the job, but I'm not happy about that. That was poor management. Poor time management. I get using the timeout to get in position, call the timeout, get your team right, get your team hype, let's go it. But the other timeouts that they used, while Detroit was in the red zone trying to score a touchdown, I don't get it. I'm sorry. You let Detroit use those timeouts. And by doing that, you run out the game in kneel down formation rather than having to kick the ball, rather having to punt the ball again because you couldn't get it. That was poor. But the Buccaneers will learn, they will get better, and we go on to the next game. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team now has the Broncos to contend with. We'll see if we are riding in Broncos country. Buccaneers fans, remember this. We need to get healthy quick because we're missing Elijah Cansey. Big factor. Not necessarily. I think people stepped up and did the role, but losing Vita Vea and Elijah Cansey, that's a hit. Antoine Winfield, that's a hit. Big shout out to Christian Izien, pick to help kill that game. Love it, brother. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Offensively, Luke Gehrig getting out. Yep, it's a big loss. Buccaneers got to figure that shit out. Big time. Gehrig's got to come back quick. There's no way we can have sustainable success against teams with good pass rushes. School's going to get schooled. It's that simple. It needs to be. Can't put a tight end to block all day for him. Can't happen. You're just taking a part of your offense away. You can do it intermittently, can't live off it. So without further ado, guys, I take my hat off. Enjoy your Victory Monday. Get your donuts in. Get your whatever it is you like to eat and enjoy. Cupcakes, jujubes, fucking popcorn. Get it in. Enjoy it. Victory Monday is all yours. Bucs on me. Bucs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!